Well, was it easy, a tough sell in this current environment at the moment, Alistair?
The current environment has been tough, definitely a change from our Series A, but the secular trend that is like clearly in favor of action on climate. That's from the private and the policy sector. So it's one of the most resilient parts of the venture space for sure. So we were lucky. We were very happy with the way the round turned out.
Balderton Capital, some big players in Europe as well backing you. I'm interested as to what the technology that underpins your offering, because it's all about software to be giving us this transparency, right?
Yeah, and the whole point is that this is on the track to manage climate change, and there's only really one plan to do that. So that's net zero, and what that means is that by 2050 we need to have reduced our emissions 80–90%, and any residual emission needs to be balanced by a credit. So we provide the data that tests whether the credit is truly a ton of CO2 out of the atmosphere. You wouldn't want an atmosphere like an accounting net zero that didn't align with what the atmosphere truly experienced. So that's where we fit into this space. And yeah, to measure those credits adequately, you do have to develop a whole lot of software to handle all the data and all of the disclosures, but also to test some of those disclosures with independent data. So where there's a nature-based component, we use satellite data, we use machine learning to test whether the claims of the vendor of the credit and also the corporate who use those credits are well justified.
Alistair, you heard our reporter talking about Amazon and its own carbon goals and what it hopes to achieve. You want to use these funds to enter the US. What kind of companies do you hope to do business with here?
Well, we already sell data to effectively everyone who has an interest in the accuracy of the information, and that could be tier one banks, commodity traders, asset managers, as well as governments and corporate buyers. We've always done a significant fraction of our business in the US, perhaps up to 40%, without having boots on the ground. And definitely the tide is turning in the US, especially, the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act is like a key turning point of sentiment in the US market. So it's clearly the time for us to double down in that market. It's going to be very meaningful for us over the next few years.
So you're a founder CEO. Where do you
Indeed.
want to get those boots on the ground? Out here in San Francisco, the East Coast? Where's the talent?
Well, climate is really, it's a technical problem, but it's a financing problem. So just to illustrate the scale, from the first mechanically drilled oil well to a 0.5 gigaton of oil took nearly a century. And the net zero plan that everyone signed up to requires us to remove 10 gigatons of CO2 from the atmosphere in the next 27 years on an annual basis. So that's doing 20 times the volume of the ramp up of the oil sector in a third of the time. So it's the capital deployment problem. So you need to deploy just in carbon removal hundreds of billions of dollars a year. So that's a financial problem. So our home base in the US is going to be New York. We have clients all over North America and actually South America now also. But New York's a natural home for us.
Caroline, it's interesting. Alistair mentioned the IRA. We talk a lot about the momentum that the public sector is giving into investing in this area. But with that comes politics.
Yeah, it does. And there's politicization about even the term ESG anymore. And you've heard people only want to talk about it as sustainability now, Alistair. Has that in any way affected the way in which ultimately you market yourself?
That's a great question. The challenge for climate really it shouldn't be a political one. It has become politicized, but as I said, the long-term trend is basically forced by the physics, and whatever the politics are on a month-to-month, quarter-to-quarter basis, you only have to look out the window, read the newspaper to see the impacts coming home. So the policy response on a global level is inevitable, and we see China, Europe plowing ahead. So you may have laggard governments who are a little bit behind temporarily because of the kind of political weather, but the direction of travel is pretty clear, and where the insurers, the money managers, have a job to do is in managing risk. So they need to make sure that they're aligned with a net zero world, and then they need the data to do that. So, kind of a picks and shovels for climate and net zero is always going to be called for.